Should I be feeling a buzzing in my teeth?
No, probably not. Are you? There's no amplification in this chain.
Yeah.
There's no power amplifier.
This is purely the power of the radio waves.
With that said, here you go. Be my guest.
Oh. Whoa. This episode of The Modern Road brought to you by Strawberry.me. Josh Nass, ham radio crash course. This whole adventure began because right before I was going to bed, I just had a flash of a vision of like Gilligan's Island, Gilligan, the radio, and they moved his head and he had different stations.
One of Gilligan's molars has been jolted out of position and shoved against a tooth with a silver filling. Open, Gilligan.
This is station KALU, Honolulu, the voice of pineapple.
Close.
Solid steel shower head.
What is that?
This goes back to a trope that I think we both experienced, like the Partridge Family, Jan with her braces on the Brady Bunch, picking up radio signals.
And so I forgot about that.
I went diving into all this stuff, and the biggest search return that I got was Lucille Ball and her fillings.
The idea was you got metal in the fillings, and because some radios could work without a battery, maybe something you bridge a connection and you could actually hear a thing. And so that, of course, gets TVized into the trope of human radios.
And there's all kinds of plausibility that goes into this, but the story I found really fascinating. So it goes back to the Dick Cavett show, which I was not familiar with.
Oh, classic of, see, this is where our age gap is. I bridge all the way to olds.
Yeah, so Lucy was on this show, and she was retelling a story of her in the 30s.
I had some dental work to be done. You know, they put in temporary fillings.
Mm-hmm. I think in those days they were putting in temporary lead fillings.
Yeah. It was quite a while ago.
During the war?
Yeah. And,
World War II.
Yes.
Now, there's some thoughts online that maybe this was a more of an amalgamation of other metals, so like copper, tin, silver maybe.
Well, we already know that we were putting poison in our fillings back in the day.
But she said that she was driving along and she picked up a radio station. And what's interesting is it was a proximity-based thing. So as she got closer, it got louder and louder, and as she went further away, it started to go down.
I was just driving along. I heard music. And I looked down to turn off my radio, and it wasn't on. And the music was getting louder and louder and louder, and I realized it was in my mouth. And it was beating in my ears, and then it started to fade out.
Yeah.
What the hell was that, you know?
So far, everything passes the sniff test. Mm-hmm. I can picture back in the 1930s when you have a less regulated radio spectrum, or maybe, you know, less good enforcement.
Right.
We already learned about how like RFID chips can draw power in a Tesla kind of way, right?
Yeah.
Basically, the wireless signal can provide the energy for it. And I would imagine you don't have to be very loud for a bone-conductive sound to reach your ears.
Yeah, you're totally dialed in, and this harkens back to the old time of radio where they were all this kind of passive circuit that was energized by the AM radio stations that would, you know, take that power, convert it into something that could actually go out on a speaker.
Well, and you said AM, which I know enough, that's amplitude modulation, which literally the power of the signal going up and down, right?
Correct, yeah.
So far, still passes the sniff test.
Right, so then I'm thinking, okay, I gotta demonstrate this, but I'm still stuck on this story because she threw in the second bit. She heard another signal while driving around, and it was Morse code.
And I was passing 4 vacant lots. As I went by there, I heard, and I'm picking it up with my teeth.
You mean?
Yes. In the Morse code, like.
Does she know Morse code?
No, but she could tell the differences, dits and dots and all that stuff. She was driving through an area that she claimed was a couple of vacant buildings, and she reported it. She told a security officer at the studio she was working at, and they went and, I guess FBI or somebody involved at the time. This was the 1930s.
I was about to say, first of all, 1930s is going to be one of the peak era of, shall we say, managed narratives. A lot of stories that are just so. So my plausibility meter is now pulling towards the skepticism side.
So she claims that after reporting it, that appropriate people went and investigated, and they found a secret Japanese spy radio.
Okay.
This was post-internment of the Japanese during World War II. When I heard the amalgamation, potentially a temporary filling, and as we know, You've probably seen those videos of a guy with a straw and he holds it up against an AM tower.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes, you can hear the arcing, you can hear the music or whatever's playing.
And of course, we have the inverse square law, and it's like when you get that close to the power, I would imagine there's all kinds of crazy bleed. I wouldn't try to get a Wi-Fi signal right next to an AM tower.
But then I'm thinking, okay, temporary filling, not meant to last. Maybe it's starting to break loose a little bit, and there's a little separation, and then you add a little bit of mineralized saliva from salt or something else, and now all of a sudden you have something that's plausible.
Right. A little bit back, a little bit back.
So I decided, knowing a little bit about these older radios, that I would tune up a wire into an inductor, which is basically a coil. And I had enough turns in there to approximate 640 kilohertz, which is the local AM station that's about 5 miles from me.
When you make a coil, that's the same way as the elementary school experiment of making a generator, right? Where
it's part of it. So this inductor basically allows certain frequencies to pass.
Okay.
And specifically the frequency I was looking for was 640 kilohertz.
Got it.
So I added a little bit of wire and I drove to the AM station and sat underneath it and touched it to my filling. I didn't hear anything.
Oh, okay. No, there's no B-roll?
This wasn't the exact setup, but as I thought about it more, I'm like, okay, well, what else is common in this space of, you've got an inductor, which is a coil of wire that's, you know, a frequency space that you're gonna listen for. Well, that goes back to the beginning of radio when a lot of people were using crystal radios for amplitude modulation reception.
Is this a trench radio?
It has common features of it. The circuitry would look the same if you put them, not the same, but close. What this uses, familiar. What this uses is the inductor, and then there's usually some kind of a capacitor for fine-tuning the frequencies that you want to be on. Otherwise, you'd get like the whole AM space, if you will.
Right.
So we need to ratchet that down a little bit. So we would use an adjustable capacitor. And then they used galena mineral.
Galena, is that gallium related?
It's a lead sulfide mineral that would literally go on one side of the circuit, and then they'd use something called a cat whisker to poke onto the mineral itself, and that bi-mineral material of like copper on the bottom or whatever it was, and then the galena on the top made a very early rudimentary transistor. Crystal radios used galena in the beginning, now they use germanium. It's still something that we use in common circuitry today. So building a crystal radio, you can easily just go grab yourself a germanium diode, coil up an inductor, and then add a very nice little capacitor, and you've made a radio.
This is the most generous interpretation of a battery-free, electronics-free iteration of something very close to the legend that we are testing.
Yeah.
Nearly 100, oh my God, 1930s is nearly 100 years ago.
Don't say it, don't say it out loud. But if you think through the whole thing, right, you need an antenna. The inductor is part of that, is a part of that side of the circuit. The human body, with enough sodium and water in it, can kind of function in that space when you get close in to a signal. And then you have this metal filling. The amalgam, maybe it's a bad mix and you've got two different kinds of minerals up against each other, or maybe there's a crack in your tooth and now you have saliva blending into that and you have a transistor. So then the last bit is, well, how do you hear it? And then that goes back to your bone conduction thing, right? And so if something's vibrating in there, well, you're getting that DC pulse as the transistor rectifies the signal back to DC out of AC.
Wait, yeah, why are we talking about AC and DC at this point?
Yeah.
I always think of alternating current as something that is created by a human manufactured transformer.
So radio waves are alternating currents.
I guess I just now locked that in, yes.
Yeah, electrons of the antenna are energized by this alternating current of the radio. So you're getting a positive and negative flow as it's going through, and then you need something to rectify that signal back to DC. And that's where this transistor would function in that space. So this piece of galena or germanium or the tooth with the filling and the salt and everything else. That is the idea.
Let's get hands-on. Can we turn all of HQ into Lucille Ball's tooth?
To pull my best Julia Childs, I've already baked this cake. and I have a crystal radio with me that we can test.
Okay, so, yeah, let's go.
Right. All right, so here is a traditional crystal radio. And so the inductor is the coil. The capacitor is under the wood, but it's adjustable here.
And a capacitor, I just think of as an electricity bucket. Is that the right way to think of it?
A lot of people refer to it as like an oven, and you apply heat to the oven, and then it holds on to it.
Got it.
The heat. But basically, it's two pieces of metal that are separated by a non-metallic material. And if you shift the plates, it changes the capacitance of the capacitor.
Oh.
So this is literally, there's veins, and those veins are fanning between them, and the more open it is, it changes the capacitance. And so we use that to fine-tune the frequency. And then sure enough, this is a germanium diode, and that is a piece of germanium that goes into here, and that's the cat whisker. So it sits like that, and we will use this piezoelectric earpiece to fine-tune where that connection needs to be, because it is a bit of fine-tuning. This is a fiddly kind of job, and we're not really going to mess around with it until we get that wire up in the air. That's the antenna side. And then the ground side's over here. So we're going to take this piece of wire and get it up as high as we can somewhere.
Okay.
And we're going to try and see if we can hear our local station.
Just so I'm wrapping my head around it, if we were doing this 100% right, this would be a pole, was it 8 feet down into the ground, perfectly earthed?
A proper ground spike would be like a rod, copper clad, that would go 8 to 10 feet straight down.
Yeah.
Or you can use a common grounding source for your AC supply from the power company, or a metal water pipe that would go to your vast underground water system.
Yeah, we do have a water pipe over on the other side of the house, but this we're hoping is good enough.
Hoping it's good enough because we do have a close AM station, and also we've got a nice straight shot for this pretty long wire we're going to have to put up.
Now, how the straight shot, we want the antenna to be straight, that's helpful?
That's a really good question. It doesn't matter so much, but you don't want to get it all stuck in trees and stuff. And so that's kind of the thought, is let's just go as straight as we can. We'll attach the antenna right here, and we just need to string out this wire.
I'll run it out.
Well, we got to grab that pole, and we need to feed the wire through it.
Okay. Did you fly with that pole?
It's telescopic.
That's rad.
Yeah, this is a great antenna mast we use for amateur radio. And yeah, it folds into itself, fits in a carry-on, so I have no problem carrying this around. So I think what we'll do is let's feed the wire in first.
Okay.
And we'll go a little reverse order here. So this is a nice little figure-8 wire winder that we like to use, and we're gonna retain this clip for the other end. And this wire will actually go right through here.
Oh.
So that should give us a nice smooth transition. So if you take this, I'm gonna, should just pass pretty well through there. Okay. Now, if you walk, let's go kind of well past that tree, so head to your right a little bit.
Yep.
And we want to keep that in there. Keep going, and basically you just need to straighten that whole thing out.
Whoop.
Oh, okay, good. We want to make sure this passes through cleanly. Come on.
Oh, we're snagged on the tree. There you go.
Yeah, it's all right. We're kind of going to use the tree as a, there we go. I'm just going to put it up in the tree like that, and then how much you got over there?
I'm at the very end right here.
Okay.
Should I be feeling a buzzing in my teeth?
No, probably not. Are you?
No.
So this is a speed hack for putting up an antenna, is these little S-beaner clips. So you take this, these are great. These are like ham radio operators, we love these. So you pass through one hole, and then you go back through another hole, and then you go back through the last hole, and hopefully the combination of all those pulling should hold it.
Enough friction, yeah.
Exactly. So now we just need to kind of get this aloft. So we can just pull it over here, probably this tree. And we'll come back and fine tune it if we need to. Let's just see if we can actually hear something, and then we'll go from there. So where you're at, I need to...
Okay, so this wasn't okay, now I was confused.
Yes.
I thought you had attached it to the ground. That's where it should go to the
Yeah, I was using that
inductor.
to hold it.
And then this, I assume, is going to the ground.
Yeah, so I would normally just use my teeth, but this is like 32 gauge wire, so it's small enough that we probably don't have to worry about it. There's ham radio operators right now like, Josh, just use the right tool.
Oh.
I would, but I flew, guys. I can't bring my...
Well, plus this is a teeth-related legend we're testing.
You know what? I like that. There we go. All right, very thin wire. So we're gonna loosen this post, and we're gonna add our little wire to it. Let me get enough space over the top. All right, that feels good. And then this guy clips right here. And let's try to clip it on that. And you may wanna use the teeth to
Kind of dig it in?
Yeah, because that looks like it's maybe got a little bit of corrosion. You can kind of twist. I would rock it back and forth like this, like a switch almost. So the last bit is this piezo crystal earpiece.
Yeah, explain for me this part.
We're rectifying the signal with the germanium, and that's going through one end of the earpiece, and it's going to this crystal element. And it needs to be DC so that it can bump against that crystal and create the reflection or the push to
That
the
comes
sound,
out as sound, yeah.
so you can hear it. Alternating current is the pulses that are positive and negative.
Right.
So as the AM is going up to the peak and it's going past zero to the valley and coming back up and back and forth.
But basically the two sides are equal, and as a result we won't hear anything unless we cut off one half of that.
Right, so we need to
now
rectify
all of a sudden
it.
we're hearing something.
Yeah. So we need to create an imbalance that this will react to
That's
so
what
you can hear it.
rectify means is, got it.
So I'm gonna add this now. Should be our last bit. If we did this right, we might be able to hear a local station. At least that's, boy, I flew all this way, I better help them. Okay, so I think that's there. Let's see. Oh, of course we need our little specimen that I put back in its protective case. I'm like, boy, I don't hear anything.
So what are you gonna hear when that drops on there?
Hopefully it's gonna be noise.
Oh, I see now. So the cat's whisker is just pushing down on it. Can you hear the 1930s?
I can't. I can hear it's Lucille Ball.
That would be amazing. You tune in, you actually hear the... What a great prank that would have been. How did we miss this? Should I check the ground?
That might be the weak link. I got it.
Oh, yeah? Does it help with when I'm holding it?
Oh, maybe. Okay, let go. It's still there. Okay.
Wait.
Okay, Brian, before you... There's no amplification in this chain.
Yeah.
There's no power amplifier.
This is purely the power of the radio waves.
With that said, here you go. Be my guest. Get it way in there. And everybody don't say anything.
Hey, am I just deaf?
No, there's another way we can do this. Okay, so I'm gonna take this out and we're gonna use a newer model diode. This is a germanium diode. Oh, that's way louder. Okay. So it should be noted too that the reason why we don't use this anymore is
because it's very quiet.
Fiddly. Yeah, it's kind of fiddly to make it work. If you don't hear this, we got to take you to see somebody.
Oh. Whoa. Hold on. I heard .com. They have the future in 1930. University something. Oh, this is magical.
Yeah, so this is the magic of the AM station, wherever it's at. I don't know where this is.
Okay.
There's no frequency display on here, so I don't know what frequency we're tuning in, but it's AM band.
Let's shoot for the minute. Here, I'm gonna hold this right up to here. I'm gonna hold it right here.
We got ears on. No way.
What are you hearing?
Something.edu.
That's so cool. Okay, by the way, recording the audio of this is incredibly difficult. So this is a very high impedance earpiece.
Yeah.
There's of course tools that exist to
We're
do this.
accidentally
but you
doing
are just
something very
shoving,
hard.
You're just shoving it in there. Fantastic.
This and more. Weekdays, 5 to 8 a.m. Central Time on Relevant Radio.
Hey, thanks to our shows.
Let me see if I can find a better station.
I heard that it is relevant or revenant radio.
Oh, that's
Okay,
great.
also let's try sliding this so we get a little bit more tension on our antenna. So
Tension will help?
yes, let's go with
Okay.
yes. So go ahead and just slide it out and that's probably good.
Now I feel like we're kids. He's hogging the radio, Ma.
Oh, that's really loud actually.
Yeah.
This is it.
Okay. I mean, it's clear. It's just not very loud.
If we had a water pipe, something that we could tap in. And that's what a lot of folks did is they would have, a galvanized water pipe.
So that, yeah, that's right. There's supply, kind of supply and demand side. Like the Earth wants to suck all of the energy down.
Right.
We don't have very much on this end.
Yeah, so one of the paths here off of this stage of the circuit is to ground.
Yeah.
And so anything that's not kind of within this inductor's range gets dumped to ground. And so that helps a little bit with what's called sensitivity, selectivity.
Yeah.
It is actually really clear though.
Yeah.
now.
Well, and that's why, is there a chance I could?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I peaked it on where the carrier's at on the AM station, so you should be able to, that should be
I
it.
think I heard South Korea. I heard transmission.
Oh God, they know we're doing this.
I just shut it off. My transmission keeps on. We got East Texas transmission talk.
Okay,
No, this is amazing.
I do listen to a lot of tiny signals, so let me
listen to it.
Oh yeah.
What a great kludgy way to do this.
Promises that are like made through that.
That's it.
A series that targets these children like this. I've never seen it in tweets. He done it in a modern way because there's actually.
Yep.
Okay, so where are we at on this legend? By the way, thank you, Annaliese. That was great.
So there are documented medical cases of people that have come home from war and had shrapnel in their head. And that created a similar effect. So is that possible scientifically? Yeah, it's never really been shouted down, so it's like, yeah, that's possible. However, when I started to look up this whole thing, tooth fillings, metal pieces and bodies turning into radios, it kept taking me back to Lucille Ball's story.
So you think that's patient zero for the legend?
I think that a lot of people use that as the catalyst, and there have been subsequent follow-ons because there are also studies about people who hear radio signals in their head and claim that it's the fillings doing it.
Now, meanwhile, in the world of psychiatry and psychology, there's a condition for hearing voices in your head.
Correct. So this starts to smack to the realm of more on the human side of the story than the science-y, we can demonstrate this side.
So in other words, I guess our position ends up being, we're not saying it can't be this, but if it is this, this is taking the long way around.
If it could be demonstrated, you would have people doing what you just did, cramming microphones in their mouth to show the world that it's a real thing. Since we don't see that and we just hear the stories and claims, I'm less inclined to believe it.
Especially now that, in theory, those fillings are still out there, those AM towers are still out there, and if it were to happen, the electronics are good enough that we'd be able to record it.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Now, one more bullet on the Lucille Ball story of the spy station.
Yeah.
Lucille Ball, in 2 periods, registered as a communist in the United States to appease her grandfather before, I guess, he died. At the time of McCarthyism, because of that, she went onto a list and was heavily monitored by the FBI. And after a Freedom of Information search, there was no evidence of anything Lucy-related pertaining to a secret Japanese spy.
So we know
radio
for a
transmitter.
fact that if she went on that interview and told that story, and it was a real story, then there would be a document of it somewhere.
I would think so,
Okay.
but I couldn't find it.
Where can people see more of your stuff?
The Ham Radio Crash Course on YouTube and everywhere else you social. I'm live on Twitch and Facebook, and of course, YouTube as well. Thank you, Brian.
Hey, Brandt, what do you know about strawberry.me?
Not much.
Well, I'll tell you what it's not. It's not therapy and it's not consulting. It's coaching. It's just like when you go to the gym, you know how to lift heavy things or jump. That's the thing they do at the gym, right? They jump. I know I'm the one doing all the work, but I need an external pair of eyes watching me who can tell me. They know I'm lying when I act like 7 is the most I can do. They're like, you got another one in you. Fine, okay, 8, 9, and screw you, 10. That's what strawberry.me is like for your career. The best part about talking with a coach is when you catch yourself saying words that are so obviously incompatible with the goals that you've set that midway through the things that you're saying, whether it's a rationalization or a justification, you're just like, oh yeah, no, I'm not doing that at all, am I? Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna scratch that off the list. Think about how hard you work to please other people. Now imagine if it was you and your career that were reaping the benefits. That's exactly what happens with strawberry.me. If you're anything like me, that external validation is like rocket fuel. Don't take my word for it. Head on over to strawberry.me/rogue. Spell it right, ROGUE. You're gonna take a quiz, they're gonna match you with a coach, and you'll be off to the races. Head on over to strawberry.me/rogue.
This video is supported in part by, you guessed it, viewers like you at patreon.com/modernrogue, where you can watch the extended multicam view of this very video itself, or you can get your name in the credits.
That went way better than I thought it would.
Yeah.
Way better. I did not. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep.
I was thinking we were gonna have to go on the street with the antenna to get to the water thing, and then we'd be in the bush.
It worked out great.